Hello and welcome to this episode of Tripology. It's a backpacking show where two travelling best friends hang out and talk about all things backpacking. I'm Alun and I'm here with the hyper-considerate Adam.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us for another week. I'm in Bangkok this time and I'm jet lagged up to the eyeballs, and Alun is still in Tokyo, smart casual as ever.
Yeah, coming straight from my job at 7-Eleven to record a episode of Tripology. It's all very exciting. I called you hyper-considerate, Adam, because we had a little conversation before the show started about how you're always thinking and caring for my time zone when we're planning the record. So extending a heartfelt thank you from both me and my 7-Eleven manager, who, you know, it's difficult to organise around both his schedule and yours. So I appreciate the time you've taken.
That's quite all right. It's quite all right. It's been difficult for us over the last couple of days because I've gone from New Zealand to Melbourne and then 2 days later to Bangkok, where I now am. So I don't suspect you had any idea about how many hours I was making up. And now I think I've actually surpassed you, mate. And I'm now, are you in front of me now? Am I behind you?
You've surpassed me in more ways than one, Adam, and very few of those ways we can discuss on the show. But what I would like to say is maybe it's the first time in Tripology history where you're moving around itinerant and I am stationary in Tokyo. You're zipping all over. It's the first time in a long time, at least, that's been the case. Normally, of course, I'm the harder Tripology member to pin down. I'm definitely the one with the itchier feet. And you like to bunker down a little more. So that's an exciting dynamic that we've stumbled into.
Yeah, I think maybe now I'm just feeling all the pains that you probably felt when you were travelling, backpacking and worrying about Wi-Fi connections and, you know, the ambient sounds in the room. I'm sort of in a hotel just next to Koh San Road. Look, I know about its reputation. I don't like the road itself. I think it's gone downhill, if that was even possible. But it is conveniently located, but you know, the problem is it's very busy outside and there's cars honking and motorbikes going past, and there's actually two pigeons as we speak wooing. What's the sound that pigeons make? A coo.
Cooing, actually. Yeah, a coo. A woo is something that also happens on Koh San Road, but unfortunately we can't discuss that, but Tripology listeners, travellers will all know what I mean. Adam, you're traveling and I'm proud of you and I love it, and you're coming to see me soon and all that's very, very good. I've been pondering the state of travel and how it's sort of basically, it's turned into an absolute industrialist free-for-all where people are constantly on ChatGPT, Googling and trying to like go to the same places, do the same things, do all that, you know. Been pondering that a little bit. I've been excited about you journeying around. So I thought, we have a little guy. We love him very dearly on the show. He's called Vagabot. He's a little traveling AI robot that sometimes we ask questions. I recently polled the listeners and I found out that he was quite a polarizing character. One listener, a friend who I speak to and deeply respect, but they are a listener of the show, said, "I don't like that robot thing you have." Another said, "What's that Vagabot about?" So, listen, he's the Vagabot 3000. He's essentially a little robot that we use sometimes if we need something getting done. But
he's a backpacking expert from the future. He's been to more countries than there are on planet Earth.
Yeah, I don't get what your guys' problem is. Look, if I have a question about traveling, you might go to ChatGPT or Google. I go to the Vagabot 3000. But he is a little bit haywire sometimes, our little traveling robot. And me and him have devised a game show for you to participate in today. Are you prepared?
Is it just me or is it everyone at home as well? Is this going to be like a collective play-along thing?
No, I asked Vagabot what he wanted to do, and it very much felt like a personal attack towards you.
Amazing.
He seemed very insistent that we play this game with you. Are you ready?
I am ready. Yeah. I haven't had much sleep, as you can probably imagine. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But I'm ready as I'll ever be, mate. I've got my Pocari Sweat. If you didn't believe that I was in Asia, here you go, my favourite drink in the world apart from wine. That's my new catchphrase.
Okay, like it. Yeah, good catchphrase. Okay, so the game comes with a bit of prevarication. Basically, this is the scenario in which you're playing. It's very much a role-playing game that you have to imagine a set of circumstances, and then you're playing within that parameter, okay?
Okay, excellent. Is it still travel related?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's travel-related, mate, yeah. Okay, so this is the scenario. I've come up with this. Vagabot helps, but largely it's from my brain. The Smith family, a fictional family, have decided that they want to go traveling in the United States of America. They've got their hearts set on visiting three locations in the United States in an action-packed week.
Okay.
Okay. They've settled on going to Vagabot and saying, provide us with said locations. We want a list of locations to travel to. Vagabot's given them 4 options, but one of them isn't real, Adam.
Right, okay.
So you, as a travel expert, they've gone to you and said, Vagabot's just given us this list. We're going to go here, 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 and here. You've got to deduce which one is the fake location and protect the Smith family from going somewhere which doesn't exist. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready. Definitely. I mean, my knowledge of the US is pretty good as long as it's only about the 4 places I've been.
Okay. I'm going to give you each of Vagabot's locations and you must decide and then send the Smith family on their week away, baby. Let's go.
Is this revenge for the tripping point we did on Japan, or what? It's feeling a little bit like it might be.
Look, I don't come up with the questions, Adam. It's simply polarizing third member of the crew, Vagabot 3000. Okay, God, his handwriting's hard to read. Vagabot. Okay, place number 1. Boring. It's in Portland.
Okay.
And some things that you can do there. It's got a scenic rail trail, and you can explore Mount Hood. But that's place number 1. Boring in Portland.
Oh, it's a place called Boring in Portland.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Well, there is a place I think it's in Oregon. It might just be over the border from Washington called Bend. That's a funny name for a place. So
that's a funny name for a place. Maybe it will come up later in Vagabot's thing. But so far, he wants to send the Smith family to Boring in Portland.
Okay.
Next one.
Yeah. Go on. I've documented it.
You're going to go all the way to New Mexico for the wonderful location. It's called Truth or Consequences. In Truth or Consequences, the place in New Mexico, you can visit hot springs and you can also visit Elephant Butt Lake State Park.
If this is real, then the committee needs to intervene or something. You can't call places this.
Yeah, Truth or Consequences in New Mexico. You've got Elephant Butt Lake State Park, and you've got some hot springs there. That's place number 2 the Vagabot wants to send the Smith family to.
Truth or Consequences?
Yeah, Truth or Consequences.
When was that ever the choice between 2 options?
I'm not sure Vagabot fully understood my input, but that's what he's come up with. Are you ready for number 3?
Yes.
Vagabot wants to send the Smith family all the way to Pennsylvania, Dutch country for the place called Intercourse. Intercourse, Adam. Intercourse in Pennsylvania, Dutch country, where you can visit handicraft places and farmland.
But 3 of these are real places with real names and...
Yeah.
That's maybe even more strange.
I'll give you your final option and then we'll review and you can do your working out. The last place is Faketown in New Jersey.
It's a bit too on the nose,
Faketown,
that
New
one.
Jersey. You can, there's lots of casinos there, quite a vibrant casino culture and a couple of hiking trails and There's a couple of famous politicians from there as well. Faketown, New Jersey. So to review, you've got boring in Portland, Truth or Consequences in New Mexico, intercourse in Pennsylvania, Dutch country, or Faketown in New Jersey.
Is intercourse spelt the way that the word intercourse is spelt, or is it the sort of I-N-T-A, intercourse?
No, intercourse, as in to have sexual intercourse.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, with your Pennsylvania. It's
Faketown,
a difficult one, mate.
Faketown is all one word, no hyphen. Faketown.
Yeah.
Boring is, I mean, as you'd imagine, dull and boring. And Truth or Consequences is truth, space, or space, consequences.
So I think Faketown is a real place. That's what I'm going to go with. I can imagine that being a real place.
I'll play the Smith family. I'll play the father of the Smith family. Oh, God. This AI travel agent's gone terribly wrong, Adam, because he's given us 4 places, but we know that one of them isn't real, so thank God you're here. So, okay, so first we're going to go to Faketown.
Well, here's the good news, Mr. Smith. I'll give you the option. Do you want to hear the truth or consequences?
I want to. Well, can I go to Truth or Consequences?
I need to do some more research on that. Let me just sort of think it through. So Faketown is a great place. I haven't been there myself, but I do know people who have been. They're big gamblers, and they've had a great time there. So maybe you might know there's a couple of famous politicians who have come from there as well. But it's a really good place, loads to do. So I do recommend that.
Okay, so we're going to New Jersey first.
Yeah, then there's also boring. You can go, well, that would be right over the other side of the country, so maybe it doesn't make much logistical sense. But
yeah. No, we're not worried about that. Money is no object for us. We're going to be...
forget about the gas prices.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking.
It's very much a hop-on, hop-off helicopter tour of the States.
Yeah. Don't judge a place by its name. Boring is a great place where there's lots of things to do. There's some really good food there. And it's conveniently located to get to your third destination, which is a real place. And it's all the way down. I'm looking at your facial expressions.
Yeah, welcome to Tripping Point. That's how I play Tripping Point.
Just really like trying to coax it out of you just by using your eyelids as my only indicator.
You can't do that with Vagabot though, because he's an emotionless drone.
Yeah, I think I've fucking forgotten the fourth one, mate. What is it? I know the one, Truth or Consequences, is New Mexico, right?
Intercourse,
yeah. Where it would have made sense actually to go to Intercourse when you're on the east side of the country, which is sort of Pennsylvania and then New Jersey as well. But as you've said, we don't really care. Why don't we finish on a high, a climax, and you can leave Intercourse until the very end, the end of the evening, the end of the trip. Book that in for the last week. And you're going to have to miss Truth or Consequences, because if that is a real place, which it probably fucking is, let's be honest, that might be the strangest place name of anywhere on earth. And in the UK, there are some funny ones. But Truth or Consequences in New Mexico, how did they let them get away with that?
Oh, man, what an emotional roller coaster. What an emotional roller coaster for the Smith family it's going to be. Because, Vagabot had the decency to tell them that one of the places was fake.
Yeah.
And they've gone to you as a trusted human confidant to try and plan their trip. They're going to get off the plane in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And the very first place that they go to on their holiday. I tried to give you a hint with the name, Adam, but Faketown is not real.
A hint. As soon as you read it, I said, well, it's just too on the nose. Surely there is a Faketown. There has to be.
The Smith family, they get off in New Jersey. They arrive. We're here in Faketown. Can you imagine the people at New Jersey Airport are going to laugh at them. Oh, what hotel are you staying at, sir? Oh, just fake hotel in Faketown.
Yeah, let me guess. Your name's Mr. Smith.
Yeah, it's not real, mate. The other place is completely real. Boring. Absolutely a real place.
Intercourse is fine, isn't it? Intercourse was a word before it was maybe
it's like an
associated with
Amish
sexual
community place, an Amish village.
Wow, really weird. Boring is just, I mean, that's just a word. I'm sure it wasn't called boring because of the word's meaning. Maybe
well, interestingly, it's a sister town with a place called Dull in Scotland.
No, that can't.
That's true.
No, it's not true.
It's true.
That would be so good if that was true. It's a shame.
No, I'm telling you, it's true. We're not playing the game anymore. I'm telling you, that is true. There's a place called Dull in Scotland, which is the official sister town of Boring in Portland.
It's like been twinned, like some German towns.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What is that? Someone's got a sense of humour, haven't they?
Yeah, it's probably the Scottish, let's be honest.
He doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it, American listeners. Come back. And hang on, Truth or Consequences? Why have we let that one slide? That's a real place.
That's a real place in New Mexico. Yeah, it was called Hot Springs because it had hot springs there. But there was an NPR radio show, a radio game with that name, and for whatever reason, they went, let's just change our name to that as a publicity stunt, and they've been it ever since.
That really is wild. Truth or Consequences? That might be my least favourite place name of all time.
Well, you've not been to some of the others that I came across in my research. Dull, boring, yeah. I'm not going to say any of the others because I might save them for a future episode. Because I enjoyed that, mate. The Smith family didn't, but I did.
It's difficult, that. Well, how would they ever have confidence in me ever again?
They won't.
I'm sure they don't listen to the show anymore.
It'll be a different family next time.
I feel like I've had the wool pulling over my eyes, pulled straight over my eyes.
Vagabond tends to do that, you know. He sends his regards, actually. He says thanks for all your service, but let him take the holiday planning from here.
Yeah. I haven't spoken to him in ages. You know why? Because I've been moving around, leaving New Zealand behind, and then going to Melbourne, a place where I used to live. Big old trip down memory lane over the last 72 hours. And then on to Bangkok, where I now am, mate. And it was not a smooth journey, let me tell you.
What was rough about it?
So you might remember, because we speak off-air, but in order to go to Australia as a UK citizen, now I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I, even though I had one last year, completely forgot that you need a tourist visa.
Interesting, because I remember copping quite a lot of flack on this podcast for the time where I didn't book a visa for where I was going. Can you remember where that was? We were together and I had to panic book a visa really quickly.
Yes, hang on, let's brainstorm this. Was it
Transit
Azerbaijan?
Visa. Yeah, feels like it might be Azerbaijan, yeah. Yeah, going from Oman to Azerbaijan, that's right. Well done, well remembered. And you called me a No, you got...
That was before Vagabot 3000 had made its way into the fold, but he hadn't become the third member of the Tripology team just yet.
Yeah. No, you gave me. I got quite a lot of flack from you for that. So, what do you think you're playing at?
Well, what I would say to that is that Azerbaijan, although it begins with A, is not Australia in terms of its relationship with the UK. And I think I got lured into a false sense of security. I think at the time, and I realised that this is going to make me sound like a very privileged individual, which we already do. But I thought, surely I don't need a visa to go to Australia. I'm from the UK, and I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Well,
where if it was Azerbaijan, I might have thought, oh, I don't know a lot about that country, and I don't think swathes of tourists are going there. There is a chance you might need a visa.
Okay.
I think that's a normal thing to think.
Yep. Sure. I agree. I mean, I understand. I'm not going to push back.
So, you can imagine the panic set in when I looked online after booking the flight, and my flight was only sort of in 6 or 7 days' time from Queenstown up to Melbourne. And I thought I better just check just because you never know, do you? Jumped online. Yeah, there it goes. UK citizens as of whatever day now need the visa tourist thing, subclass 651, whatever it is. And I thought, fucking hell, if it's the last thing I need, dismantling my life, getting all emotional, having lived in New Zealand 14 months, selling my van, all that sort of stuff. Going through the motions, wondering whether I'm making the right decision or not, because I've still got another almost a year left on my New Zealand visa with the option to extend for a further year. So, we do get a good deal, us Brits. And then, got the information. I thought, fuck. So jumped online, went through the rigmarole, and do you think it's bollocks or not? Not having to apply for a visa, but given that there is a share of information between these two countries, it's hard to not see it as just bureaucratic data collection.
I think it's bullshit. And I want the world to feel like a big, sexy party where everyone's sort of invited and everyone's getting off with each other and hanging out. And
we just rename all the towns Intercourse.
Yeah, that's what I want the world to feel like. But I'm also aware it sounds insane to a lot of people as talking like that, because I'm friends with an Armenian person. I know that might come as a fucking shock to you, you bigot, but I am.
Okay.
I'm friends with an Armenian person, and the rigmarole that they have to go through to get a visa is insane. Like, they're trying to go to the Schengen just to see what's going on out there. They're interested in sort of seeing what's happening in the Schengen. Right. And the amount of work that they have to do to get a visa for the Schengen. They have to book appointments, they have to go to the visa office, they have to learn Norwegian, they have to get married to a Norwegian person, they have to catch a fish. They have to do so much stuff to even get the visa for the Schengen that you saying it's bullshit that you have to get a visa for Australia. It seems, it's going to her listening, when she's listening to that.
No, I'm on your side.
She's going to think Adam's a prick.
No, I'm on your side. I would prefer that there was maybe a pool of people, we'd be included in those, of people. These are people who want to travel. They're people who put their passports forward and say, hey, I'm interested in travel. I'm really curious. I would like to explore more of the world. Can you please just include me when, you're giving out these visas wherever around the world?
Well, just anyway.
And then all of the people who don't want to travel, like the people who choose conventional lives, then, they don't have to get involved. That's fine.
Hold on. But it sounds to me like what you're advocating for is essentially going to mean that rich people just get visas easily and poor people don't.
Why rich?
Because
we travel more than anyone I know, and we're not rich.
Well, exactly. But who is going to go through the rigmarole? Like, this is the thing about travelers, mate. There's people who are interested in travel, and then people who act as if they're interested by travel because actually they've just got too much money. Some of the most well-traveled people I know, they're just rich. So they're, I've been to 100 places. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. You must be so cool. And they're like, no, what's happened is I'm just wealthy. So going to different places is very easy for me. The barrier to entry for rich people to be interested in travel is much less than it is for us. It's like, to use a niche example, Logan Paul has a very expensive Pokemon card. Is he the most interested in Pokemon cards? Maybe not, but he's got more money than anyone else who is interested in Pokemon cards. I regret starting that example, but the same applies to travel.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, just because someone has been to a lot of countries doesn't necessarily make them a great traveller.
And someone who's really seems like they're interested in travel because they travel a lot, it might just be that they're rich.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair point, actually. That is a fair point. And I wish it was much easier for everyone else instead of being more difficult for us.
That's obviously my point. Give as many visas as that Armenian traveller wants.
Yeah,
because she's genuinely interested in travelling and seeing the world. You I think maybe you should have to apply for your Australian visa.
I just think there's a lack of common sense here. I wish that it went straight to a human. Because it never goes to a human, does it? I wish it went straight to a human, and then they said, "Oh, who's this guy? Oh, he used to live in Australia. Okay, well, let's have a quick look. Oh, he's already booked a flight. Oh, I bet he's stressing. Bless him. I bet he's stressing. He probably didn't even know that he needed a visa.
Wow.
He's from Britain. Why would he? Stamp in,
It's a shame
approved.
not to role play what that might sound like. Nah, let's not.
We're having a laugh. So anyway, I read online that it should take less than a day, actually, for these to be approved. So there I was, less than a day, and there I was after 1 full day, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and I still hadn't had my visa. And in that time, you got a little panic text, didn't you, mate?
I did, yeah. I tried to solve the problem for you, didn't I? Because you actually, crazily, you'd been using Vagabot to try and find out the way to go about it. You'd been messaging Vagabot like, "Oh, which visa subclass do I want?" And I said, "Don't use Vagabot for that. He's a madman."
I said, Vagabot, are you sure that English people need a visa to go to Australia? Can't be the case. It simply can't be the case. And ironically, I did have one last year that expired the day before I flew. So had I just booked my flight a couple of days earlier, wouldn't have needed one. Already had one that was active. But it came through just in time. You probably got a text then as well.
Was that the guy? Was that your visa officer? Just in time.
Just in time.
My name's Just in Time, mate, and I'm responsible for anyone coming through this border.
What do you think he was called? What's a typical Australian name?
Just in Time.
Just in time, mate. I have been hearing a lot of Australian accents. Quite like it. Soft on the ears.
I think it's the sexiest accent of all.
Do you?
Yes.
Interesting.
That could be because the first person I was ever in love with was an Australian, and it's formed a
Steve Irwin.
psycho. Yes. Oh, bloody. And incidentally, I fucking hate stingrays. Those absolute arseholes.
Or is this some sort of like home and away neighbours fascination? Was it growing up or what?
I just think that when the first person you fall in love with is quite specific, they possess specific qualities, then sometimes that can become something which you admire in future partners. So if you are interested in dating me, purchase a cork hat beforehand. Dating me is basically like cosplaying in a parody fashion.
Yeah, the sexiest accent. I don't know what is the sexiest accent, actually.
To you?
And
I know what the sexiest accent is for you.
Oh, go on.
If I was to do an impression of it, we'd have to end the show early. I know what you're like.
What? Because I would come through that screen and lay one on you.
You fly into a rage, don't you? For you, my observation is that you find the French accent very alluring.
Yes. Yeah. Do you think there would be a difference between French people speaking French and French people speaking English with their accent?
Well, yeah, no one's interested in a French-Canadian accent. There's not one person in the world
That's not
who
what
goes,
I mean.
"Oh, my favourite accent is Quebec."
No, I'm thinking about moving to Montreal, so I do have to tread carefully here. But I think we're all in agreement here, and that's basically most English speakers as a first language, and all of France, apart from maybe 4 or 5 people, probably prefer the French accent from France than a Quebecois accent.
I personally don't like the French accent. Doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, why is that? Because I have to tell you you're wrong.
No, I know. So this is it for me, I think. And I'm going to be completely honest here. And it's a personal show. I associate the French accent with poshness. I like my Australian accents quite bogan. Fucking straight, mate. Bloody... Right? So I think I'm into the more white collar... Or is it blue collar? Which is the one that's like working class?
The working class. Don't ask me that live on air. Probably blue.
Blue, isn't it? I'm
Maybe.
into the blue collar accents. French for me, a little bit too highbrow. I like to leave those ones for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, but what we're talking about here is like other people speaking English with their accent, right? So my question to you is, do you still find it sexy?
Yeah.
If they're speaking their own language and you are listening in? And we know you're not understanding anything because you only speak English. But do you still find that quite attractive and sexy when you hear people speaking their language and you can't understand? Is it just like a sound thing?
No, yeah, obviously. I think there's an allure if they're talking a different language and you can't understand, because it's mysterious, isn't it? And mysteriousness is sexy.
Yeah. Did you ever
If you go to Glasgow, it's a bit like that.
I was actually having a drink with a girl from Glasgow just the other day. She just
and
sat
could
at
you
the bar next to
understand
me.
what she was saying?
Not a word, actually.
And was it sexy as a result?
The fact that I didn't understand what she was saying. No, I think she might even start listening to the show. We did have a bit of a chat about the show. Really, really
well,
nice.
that's the thing. It's mutually unintelligible. So she can understand us, but we can't understand her. And that is sexy.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I had so much to say today, and we've gone off on an absolute tangent.
I think we have to end it there, and we'll kick your story over to next week, mate.
All right. Well, I like the sound of that. I do.
I think we carry on this conversation. I think there's a lot of fruitful ground talking about accents and sex appeal. So we'll continue that conversation in the Lost and Found over on Patreon. The link is in the description. For everyone else, though, we'll have to see you next week. There simply isn't time.
We'll see you there, guys. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Hey, you little bastard, B.